You are the light of the world. That's what Jesus said. Not a poet, not a preacher, not a philosopher, but Jesus, the one who sees through all masks, looked at ordinary people like you and me, and called us light. That sentence alone can stop you in your tracks, because maybe right now, you don't feel like light. Maybe this week you were impatient, stressed, anxious. Maybe you yelled at your kids. Maybe you ignored that person who needed help. Maybe you scrolled endlessly just to numb the noise inside. And still, Jesus says, you are the light. Not because of what you did, but because of who you belong to. There was a nurse named Elena. She didn't wear a collar. She didn't quote scripture in the break room. She didn't post long devotionals on social media. She just showed up, day after day, night after night, to one of the hardest places on earth, the oncology wing. Most of her patients didn't leave cured. Many didn't leave at all. But they remembered her. Her name, her voice, her smile. Her co-workers quietly called her the light in the hallway. Why? Because she noticed people. She didn't see charts or diagnoses or expiration dates. She saw souls. She would sit down and ask a patient about their childhood. She'd remember their favorite snack and sneak it in from home. She learned a few words in Tagalog just to greet an elderly Filipino woman who barely spoke. And there was this man, Thomas, old, angry, bitter. He cursed every nurse who walked in, wouldn't eat, wouldn't smile, wouldn't speak unless it was to spit venom. Elena didn't avoid him. She didn't take it personally, she just kept showing up. One evening as the shift changed, she sat by his bed. He was awake, staring at the ceiling. She said quietly, "Mr. Thomas, I don't know what pain you've carried in your life, but I want you to know, you're not just a patient, you're a person, and you're still loved." He didn't respond, but the next morning he asked for a priest, 40 years. That's how long it had been since his last confession. When he died a few days later, the chaplain said, "He passed in peace. And he mentioned you, Elena." He said, "I saw Jesus in..." Her smile. Let that sink in. Jesus didn't walk into that room, but his light did. Through a nurse, through a woman who just kept showing up with compassion. That's the gospel in action. When Jesus said, "You are the light of the world," he didn't say it to perfect people. He said it to fishermen, to tax collectors, to doubters, to people who argued and failed and fell asleep when he needed them most. He looked at them and said, "You are the light." Because light isn't about performance, it's about presence. It's about willingness. It's about small things done with great love. Sometimes we think living the gospel means doing something grand, preaching to crowds, leading big movements, but more often, it looks like this: bringing coffee to your coworker who's having a hard week, smiling at the cashier who looks like they're about to break down, texting someone who's been silent for too long, forgiving even if they never apologize, holding your child's hand when you're exhausted, praying silently in a hospital room when there are no words left. Light isn't flashy, it's faithful, it doesn't scream, it stays. And maybe you feel like your light has dimmed, that you've failed too many times, that your doubts disqualify you, that your past discredits your faith. Friend, hear this. The light doesn't come from you. It comes through you. Jesus is the source, you're just the lamp. And sometimes, a cracked lamp lets even more light shine through. This week, be the kind of person who doesn't just talk about God, but reminds people of Him by how you treat them. Let your kitchen be a place of grace. Let your office be a space where people feel safe. Let your smile be someone's first glimpse of heaven. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show up with love, because someone out there is sitting in darkness, and your small light might be the very thing that helps them. Keep going. You are the light of the world. That's not a maybe. That's not a suggestion. That's who you are, because of whose you are. So let it shine. Let it shine through every phone call, every hug, every moment of patience, every act of quiet kindness no one else sees. Jesus sees, and he smiles. Because when you love like that, you reflect him. If this Sunday reflection spoke to your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Faithlight Stories. Each week, we bring gospel truth to life through real stories, because the world is hurting, and it needs light. And you carry it, let it shine.